Buddy, let's go over here in the shade.
Yeah, come out here on the road, man.
192.
192.
And I'm like,
It'll be clear from Kroger's, but we'll have a 16 right by the McDonald's here.
fucking Cody, man.
You take off?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
We're just going to go.
Someone's just concerned because you were standing out here in the middle, just kind of yelling a little bit.
Kind of walking in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
I had a moment, man.
Yeah, your hand looks like it's doing a heck of a lot better.
Hell no, look at this. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Kroger because I got to get some tape.
Well, okay, better than what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, better than what it was.
Like it's
It ain't infected. My mom's a nurse practitioner.
Yeah, thanks.
She came to see me yesterday and she was like, the infection's gone. Man, you know how long I was on fucking antibiotics?
I took you to the hospital multiple times.
Multiples, yeah. Let me see. I was on it from first week of April. Until
Really?
I just been
Well, I'm glad you've been taking them.
Well, yeah, but the thing about it is my body rejects a lot of it. I know it's weird. Like the only two antibiotics that I can take was vancomycin and Roflex or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Just off the wall type shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just having.
Yeah. Like, so the only reason we're here is because someone flagged us down. We're concerned about you.
Man, you know what? Let me tell you something. Okay, so yesterday I fell asleep on some more shit. The night before. Well, I woke up to raindrops everywhere. Which that ain't bad as the other time, but I'm like, fuck, man, it's raining. Yeah. And I had my brand new Jordan jacket on, and I was like, man, there's a little shed right here. It's an abandoned house, you know what I'm saying? So I'm walking, I didn't stop, because it's fucking pouring down around. I didn't stop, I didn't do nothing. Straight to the fucking shed. Man, as soon as I got to the shed, the sheriff pulled up. Yes, sir. You know what I mean? Like you guys dealt with me on numerous, you know what I'm saying? Fat, petty shit.
23 for us.
And he's like, Luce, you alright? I'm like, no, I'm cool, man. I'm like, alright, we'll just come and check on you. We got a phone call, you were standing in the middle of the front yard pissing. Man, listen, I don't care if they call you guys on here. Let's tell you all the truth, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't like that shit. No.
Well, people do exaggerate when they call.
Yeah.
They turn on and off.
Oh, I'm like, yeah. Now, the last time you took me to the doctor, I needed it.
Yeah. Well, every time I've taken you, you've asked me to.
Yeah.
You'll look me right in the eye.
My head was spread open now, bleeding. I don't know what the fuck. It was some mental shit, man. I'm going through it for real. A lot of shit that's under the. And I don't like to talk about it. I don't talk about it with nobody. You just keep it bottled up. And you know what I mean? It just comes out at a certain time. Like right now, I'm cool as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cool guys,
This is probably the most lucid I've ever seen you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking, but I'm definitely don't let you. It's like the Franklin Township guy. He said, it wasn't fucking with me. I came out and scored. He's like, come here. I'm like, what's up? He's like, not a quick way. I was like, what's up? He's like, you like using your hands, don't you? I'm like, get away from me with that bullshit. If I did, I would have even did you that. Alright, but I said, man, that was my favorite match. That's some shit I do in my past. With that name no more, you know. You know Carrie Mae, don't you?
I do. Friends with her. She's good. I've actually spoken to her about you before.
Have you? I love her. my girl.
Yeah, said you guys grew up together.
Yeah.
She worries about you.
Yeah, I know. Oh, all of them do. My sister's a cop.
Really?
Yeah.
Where does she work?
Fairfield.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She's a mean bitch.
Well.
She is, and they fucked up by giving that one.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna pay for her to go to college. Or go to
Really?
Yeah. Many months ago.
What happened? What made you turn this way, man?
Man, listen. I'm sure Carrie Mae told you I was really good in sports.
Yeah.
I was an all-American football player. Yeah. I was a five-star athlete. And fucking, like 16. My mom was poor. And I hated seeing her going through the struggles. So I was like, man, I'm getting my feet wet. Alright, now you see me talking to the police.
Find out some things on that paperwork.
Alright, what was your last name again?
We gonna mow my grass ever again.
Hey, you better check that lawnmower. It's already wired up.
You better not be wired up with rolling shit, son. I ain't telling, but I'm telling.
Hey,
I'm not sure that's a good idea,
got
Connor.
one
That sounds kind of
cameras,
gross.
or them rotating cameras on it. Yeah, but so I was like, and my dad, my real dad, he's a and my mom had 3 kids, and my dad only had to pay $150 a month for child support. So I did everything I could to get my mom to be able to get up on top of this on my dad's level.
Alrighty. We're here. I think we're here. I hate how the chat's like behind. How many times have I done this? This is like my 6 or 7 live stream, and I'm still kind of figuring out. I would have been here, Tiger Lily, 12 a.m. Awesome. And it was hot here today too. Actually, I'm going to tell a little story about it being hot today. But I was getting ready. I set everything up, and before you guys can see, I can actually like put my face on the screen, which is terrifying every single time that I do it, because I don't know, my face is scary looking. But I had changed some light bulbs in my basement the other day. So the ones that are right above me here are different wattage than the ones in the light further away. And oh yeah, the banner. This might be a record for getting the banner turned off. And when I sat down, my bald head was shining like mad. I mean, I know it's shining now, but anyway, so I ran upstairs and I got some duct tape, and I was gonna put like a white t-shirt over the lamp that's over there. But I actually found some what is it, tissue paper, like for wrapping presents and stuff, and I duct taped it to the lamp on the ceiling over there, and now I'm not as shiny. Gives me a hint of color. So I don't know, that's why it took me like an extra 4 minutes. So anyway, I don't put baby oil on it. I shaved it yesterday. I shave it every other day. That's one of the benefits of having fair skin and fair colored hair. I shave my face and my head every other day, not every day. But yeah, it was hot today, and that it actually kind of reminds me, one of the things that's on my mind right now. It wasn't that it was so hot; it was just humid and like sticky. Here in Ohio, because it rained for like the last several days. I think it's supposed to rain tonight as well, and it got into like the mid to high 80s. So when you have humidity and mid to high 80s, it's actually quite warm, and we're wearing black. You know, it is what it is. I was fighting the urge to stop for an ice cream cone literally all day today. Like everywhere when I was like, man, I need to get some ice cream. I need to find someone to have some ice cream with. I was looking for homeless people that might be cool, that I'd be like, hey, you want to go get some ice cream? Because I like to do that kind of stuff. But I did not. I stopped myself from going to get ice cream. And then when I came home, I get home at about 3:15 in the afternoon. I always make a turkey sandwich with pickle and lettuce, cheese, and mustard, and then I have some carrots with it. Had my little sandwich, and afterwards I was still starving. And I knew I was going to ruin my dinner, but I didn't care. I went out to the freezer in the garage and I bought these. Um, they're like cookies and cream Oreo little pre-wrapped ice cream cones for the kids. And I decided that I needed to try one for myself today. So I had one of those. It was delicious, but I was quite full. But then here's my problem. I'm like really religious about my meal schedule. Like I have certain times a day that I eat, you know? And I was like, crap, I just had all that ice cream and I'm not working out. So I'm not going to develop a hunger before the live stream. But also if I don't eat something before the live stream starts, I'm going to pass out on camera and that won't be good either. So I had to force feed myself. I had some leftover New York strip steak and some steamed broccoli right before we started. And then you guys were here early in the chat room, which is wild. I figured out how to schedule the stream using what program to use? StreamYard. So it actually just goes live directly from here. So the chat room was already going. I didn't get the chance to brush my teeth. So I hope you guys aren't offended by my bad breath. And since I had steak, I've got like, I'm going to find as I talk throughout the night, little pieces of meat stuck in my teeth. And it's going to annoy me. But regardless, I'm here. What else is going on? Oh, one of the other reasons I was so hot today, it was it was funny. This is like an embarrassing cop story. It's not like super embarrassing, but it's the kind of stuff that we do that we embarrass ourselves, that we tell our friends about. And every single cop out there has a story exactly like this, and they probably do it once a month or so. And today was my day. What day was it? On probably Sunday, I I got a call about some people in an abandoned garage that were doing drugs or dealing drugs or something of that nature. Is a large congregation of people coming and going out of this abandoned garage, and there was trash and stuff all over the place. The neighbors were mad. So I drive up to this garage and I go up, and sure enough, there's probably 4 or 5 like homeless drug addicts hanging out in this garage. There's a car in the garage with the windows and everything all busted out. The car was it wasn't even on blocks, just the wheels were taken off. There were bicycle parts all over this garage. And then there were little food containers. Like these people, I need to do a video about homeless people, homeless drug addicts. Maybe that'll be like the next live stream that we do. But they go down to this little outreach center that's not too far from where this garage was, and they get these little styrofoam things of food, and they bring them up to this garage. They all hang out, eat, whatever, and they just throw the styrofoam containers on the ground. I think sometimes they get more than what they're going to eat, because there was like a grocery bag with a couple styrofoam containers on the ground. This was Sunday when I was there. And I was talking to these people and I was telling them, like, look, there's needles everywhere. There's trash everywhere. You guys have to clean this up. And I kicked this grocery bag that had 2 styrofoam to-go containers in it. And one of the biggest swarms of flies I've ever seen in my life comes radiating out of this trash bag. It was freaking disgusting. So you know that there was like meat in there and the flies had laid eggs, and then, all that. It was nasty. But this is one of those moments that's kind of frustrating for cops, and it's frustrating for the public, because the public doesn't want these people there. The officers know that these people don't belong in this garage, that they don't own the garage and all that kind of stuff. But also, there was no homeowner present. There's actually no house on the property. The house was gone and the garage was just standing. And you need to, in order to make people leave, you have to be able to prove that they don't belong there, or you have to have a homeowner or a landowner or somebody on scene that says, hey, look, these people don't belong. You need to make them leave. So I did not have the authority to make these people leave. What I did was I sent some emails to some code enforcement agents, and I said, look, this is an abandoned garage. These people are hanging out in it. Is it on your guys' list? Are you working it? And I actually got a pretty prompt response. They came out and put placards on it. So these big orange signs that say, this is a vacant structure. This is unsafe. No one's allowed to be here. What that does is that gives me the authority to go in again and say, look, nobody's allowed to be here. You have to leave or you're going to be charged. And a lot of times what we do is we'll just, if there's only one person there, we'll go ahead and just charge them. It's called reoccupancy of a, I don't know, placarded structure. So I knew that this thing got placarded up, and I went to visit it today. And because the code enforcement guy said he had to run a couple people off, and they weren't all very nice. So I slid back by the garage, and there was nobody there. But I decided to go inside and check out that vehicle a little bit more than I did the day before. One of the funny things that happened when I was there, let's see, I was there on Sunday and today is Wednesday. So 3 days later. But when I was there on Sunday, I didn't want to go into this garage because there was all these people in there. There was people sleeping in the car. And I asked one of the homeless guys, I'm like, hey, can you give me the license plate off of that car? And he read off a license plate to me. I asked him to repeat it. He looked back down. He read it again. I had no reason to believe he was lying to me. So I wrote it down. I told him that they needed to clean up. The people who didn't live there needed to leave. I basically was making empty threats because I didn't have the authority to force them to go. And then I took off. I ran that license plate later, and it didn't return in the system. That's not completely uncommon because sometimes license plates are so old that they're just not in the system anymore. There could be a variety of reasons. But today I went back. The garage was empty, and I was able to kind of wiggle my way in this little single car garage back to the license plate. And I looked down, and the license plate looked a little funny. It was, the Ohio license plates, the lettering on them is like a reflective blue, and it's like raised lettering. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, this doesn't look right. One of the letters is starting to peel off a little bit. The very first letter, the first O. So I went to rub it, like just to get the reflective part off, make sure that I could actually read it, because I couldn't tell if this was a D or an O. I thought maybe the homeless guy that I was talking to before mistook the first letter as an O when it was actually a D. So I'm trying to fix this. And then I realized that whoever had this vehicle had changed a J. I don't know if I can't do it with my hands. They changed a J into an O, and they had used that blue tape that you use to like line your cabinets and your floorboards and stuff when you're painting. They put like pipe cleaners in it so that it was like raised up, and they made it perfectly round, just like an O. So the first letter was actually a J. And I went and I ran the tag, and it came back as a stolen car. So I had to call for a tow truck. The doors were wood panel doors, and it was broken halfway up. So I was able to get half the door up, and then the bottom half, when I tried lifting it up, it was just stuck. And I figured I just needed a second person because of the way the janky door, you need it lined up perfect. So people on both sides lifting up would probably be better. So I sat in my car and I called for a tow truck, and I waited for like an hour, and it was hot as the dickens out. And even though I'm sitting in the car with the air conditioning going, I had the door standing open, and there's no shade. So even with the AC going, the sun coming in through the windshield, the car gets freaking hot as all get out. So I was doing my best to be patient. I'm waiting on a tow truck. I'm like, where the heck is my tow truck? Why is my tow truck not here? So I looked on my run. The notes were on there. I had ordered a tow truck, and I wasn't really paying attention to what time I ordered it, but it had been a while. And then the dispatcher asked to get me on a back channel and was like, hey, the tow truck driver can't find you. He wants to know if you're in the front of the house or the back of the house. I was like, well, I'm in the back of the house. Shouldn't be that hard to find. And then it dawned on me. It was like, from my position, if a tow truck had driven by, I would have seen a tow truck. But I hadn't seen a tow truck. I hadn't heard a tow truck. there was no tow trucks that drove down my street. So I get out of the car and I could see the street in front of me. I looked at the street sign behind me. I was not on the street that I told them I was on. I was miles away from where I told him I was. So I had to tell the dispatcher to call the tow truck company and give him my correct location. And then the guy finally came, which was awesome. So I helped him get the door up, and then he starts pulling the car out. It was like a small SUV. All the windows were busted out, had a luggage rack on top, and the homeless people had been putting garbage on top of this car. And the hood of the car was full of garbage. One of the pieces of garbage was a foil container, like an open face foil container that you like bake in, and not bacon, but like you cook in. And it had the remnants of pulled pork or something. It had like a ham bone in it. So it had a lot of flies, and we had got a shovel and we had to clean the thing off. It was a disgusting mess. I was sweating my ass off. That was where I really first started thinking about ice cream. Even though I was surrounded by flies and all that stuff, I was hot and I was hungry. I really wanted ice cream. And that's why when I got home, I ruined my dinner by having ice cream as soon as I got home. Let's see. I did see I think I saw some new faces. I want to say hi to Sarah. Sarah's cool. She sends me stuff all the time. Am I pronouncing, is it Janice? Tell me if I pronounce that right, because I see you comment all the time. You're a very little commenter, and I'm a bad reader. I don't read good, so I always screw that up. Travis, I know you've been commenting a lot. I haven't had a chance to see all the comments. I know you're being snarky with some of them. Teddy Bear, are you new? Are you new to the stream? I don't recognize your name as much, but welcome to the stream. A lot of you guys are just talking to each other, which is awesome. Comment about Scott. I actually ran into Scott today. All right. I'm not going to be able to scroll up anymore because you guys are chatty tonight. Brent, I didn't do it for you. Jeannie, still recovering from COVID. I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully you don't stay up too late tonight. You need your sleep. You can watch the replay tomorrow. About Scott, that's kind of the reason I chose this video today. I did run into Scott today, and Scott's not doing as well as I would like to see. Man, without going into too much detail, he's just not doing well. He doesn't look very good. His spirits were high. Well, no, I can talk about it. He broke his neck recently. And since he's the type of person that doesn't take care of himself very well, it didn't heal properly. So it completely changed his appearance, to the point that I sent it to someone he knows and they didn't believe me that it was him. The last time I talked to him, he promised me he was ready to go to rehab. Unfortunately, after that, he had a warrant, and what else was there? And then there was another time where he got, Sarge Scott is the guy in the video right there. After I saw him, he had a warrant. He got himself arrested, and then he got out of jail, and he was found somewhere. Somebody called on him. He was like too high to be out in public, so they had to take him to the hospital for his own well-being. And I hadn't seen him. I probably haven't seen him for, I don't know, several months. And then I drove by today and I saw him begging for money. I pulled up and I talked to him for a little bit and gave him a fist bump, and he gives me a big smile. He's like, "Hey man, how are you?" And it's scary. His teeth are really rotting. I mean, it's really bad. Then he told me about his broken neck, and he asked if I wanted to pull over in the parking lot and talk to him like I did last time. And I said, well, if you want to. But he said there was another homeless person out there that likes to tell everybody's business to everybody. So he didn't feel comfortable talking to me. I unlocked the doors and offered, I was like, you can just hop on in the car and I'll take you somewhere. He said, no. He's like, how about tomorrow? He's like, come by tomorrow at like a certain time. And I told him I would. I'm not sure if he's going to be there. when I get there. I don't really have faith that he's going to be there, but I'm going to give it my best effort. He's one of those people that, especially with his injury and stuff like that, he could very easily get himself some disability and some government housing and stuff. His problem is he just doesn't follow through with things. And he's like a lot of these people who, and I guess it's a lot of people in general, they don't want to take that next step in improving their life until they get like the first thing taken care of. It's kind of like people are always like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym after I lose 10 pounds or, this, that, and the other thing. It's just normal. His problem is his addiction. He doesn't think that it would do him any good to get an apartment or get SSI or anything like that while he's still using the drugs that he's using. He wants to get clean before he can do that. And in his mind, he doesn't think he can get an apartment and then get clean. I don't know. That's the best explanation I have about that. Yeah, the disability stuff does take forever, but for some reason, a lot of the folks that I deal with are able to get it. So I don't know, but I also know I've talked to him about getting a social worker and all that. And it's like the same conversation every time. He's had appointments and just not gone to them. We have those conversations with many people all the time. Oh, and the other thing I saw everyone was talking about, wrestling with topless ladies in the beginning of the stream, because they're remembering my story from last week. Interesting thing about that was last Wednesday's stream was the day that I had this naked lady on the side of the road and I took her to the hospital and she ended up pooping in a trash can. It was good times. The kind of funny, maybe not funny. The very next day, my very last run on my shift, I was actually sitting under like a tunnel type of thing. At the end I had like 15 minutes to go on my shift. I just went and parked somewhere in the shade to just kind of wind down, sit out the rest of my shift without getting tied up on anything crazy. And I was actually quite away from the road. People could see me, but you had to like really make an effort to get back and talk to me. And this this woman and her child, I see them walking down this long lane towards me. And I thought they were just going to use this area I was in as a shortcut. So I waved at them when they started to walk by. And unfortunately, they walked up to my passenger window. And this boy's mom was like, you could see like the panic in her eye. And she told me, she's like, down there, she gave me this street intersection. She goes, there's a woman rolling around the middle of the road naked. Cars are stopped in both directions. And she needs some help. So there was a couple of other events going on at the time that had all the cars tied up. I knew that I was the only car clear on the zone. So I grabbed the radio and I said, hey, I just got this call about this woman in the middle of the road naked. Start me a medic. I'm heading that way. When I got there, sure as shit, there were cars stopped in both directions. I pulled up with them and these people were terrified. There's this woman rolling around in the street, and then there's like tall grass next to the street, and she was covered in poop, like from here down all the way down her legs, completely naked and completely covered in poop. It smelled awful. It was not a good time. And it was the same woman from the day before that I had taken to the hospital the morning before. So Travis, I did call the medics. Because of the event that was going on, there was a large scene. A lot of the medics that are usually close by were not close by, so they had to call one from a little further away. And I gloved up. I'm holding on to her arm, trying to kind of pin her down to the ground. But she started calling me like the devil and all this other stuff. And she was flopping like a fish and then rolling on me. So I was having a hard time holding on to her. And I didn't want to like have to wrestle her. Like wrestling people that are covered in poop is really not what I want to do, especially at the end of my shift. So I grabbed my mic, and it was funny because the things that I say on the microphone, I really put a lot of effort into not sounding like I'm in trouble. unless I'm actually in trouble. So I grabbed my mic and I said, I was like, hey, if the medics are going to take a while, can you please send me another car quickly as possible? I should have just said, I need a car run in, or we have an emergency signal. That I should have just hit my button, but I didn't. But luckily the guys could tell that I really needed help. So another officer came screaming in. Um, he ended up having to be the one that, like, she flopped up in the air and he grabbed her feet and I grabbed her arms. We had her like suspended in midair. She was facing down. And it was very awkward. So we moved her back over to the grass where it was soft, put her down, and he instinctively took her feet. So you got her on her belly, and you take someone's feet and you cross their legs and you push them into their butt, for lack of a better term. And then you put your knee right on those legs. So they're pinned in, like their legs aren't going to move or anything. The unfortunate thing for when you're doing that is you're kind of like right over their butt, and she was covered in poop, and he was like right there, and for it seemed like an eternity. It sucked, but luckily, like, I mean, you guys have seen me in action. I'm pretty calm, and I try to comfort people, make them know that they're not in any trouble, that we're the good guys, we're here to help. And she was kind of reading me, but she was still being strange. When the medics came, we were able to wrap a sheet around her, and they just said, hey, we're going to take you to the hospital. And she said, good. And they said, we just need to make sure that you don't kick or do anything and hop off of our bed in the medic. And she's like, I won't. And they were able to roll her up on the medic. And I think it just took 3 of them, one driver and 2 guys in the back. They said, hey, we don't need you anymore. They took off, and that was the end of that. But unfortunately, that same girl had to deal with her twice in 2 days. First run of the first day, and then the last run of the second day. I haven't seen her since. I don't know. Maybe she finally got all that stuff out of her system. Might have just been a bad batch that was going around. Anyway, is it time to get into... Did I tell all the stories I wanted to tell? I think so. I think it's time to get into the reason that we're here. Let me get this thing blown up. Let me switch. I'm going to try to do the smaller picture. Let me know if when the video is playing, if this is all right, or if I need to go the small picture in picture. Just when I watch the playback of the live stream, I look so tiny, and it's almost, I don't know. It's up to you guys though. So there's that. Is that picture big enough? Bedtime stories with Ben. Yeah, these aren't the kind of stories you want right before bed. But so I know a lot of you guys have already watched this channel before. It's called 50 Patrol. I have never seen it before. I'll do that. And it was popped up on my recommended list. And this is a video that that popped up, and it's, what is it? Oh, are you married? And it's saying this drunk driving suspect was hitting on the cop. So I have not watched this other than like the first 10 or 15 seconds of it. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I thought this might be fun. And I don't know, it's like how long is it? It's like 38 minutes. We might skip ahead a little bit. I don't know. Brent says it's good. Let's give it a shot. Well, there we go.
Yeah. Probably should have wore white, huh?
White shoes? Why? What would white shoes?
Well, because isn't that what you're supposed to wear when you go into jail?
No, you're supposed to wear like
White.
orange.
Because then you. Well, because I've been to jail before.
You have?
They told me that you should wear white.
I wonder who said, well, I don't know if you should be wearing Steve Madden's.
Wear white because I guess you don't have to. And then you have to give it to people when they
want it.
Yeah, I gave my socks.
Alrighty, that was really cringy. He kind of does, I guess, what I do, or you give him like a little bit of the creepy part and then you start it up. Let's see. Oh, and as far as the sound, I'm sorry if it's not loud enough. I don't know how to control that with this. So
How are you? Do you have registration insurance?
I'm a failure as a live streamer. Let's read the introduction because you guys are asking me questions and I don't know the answer. So the information on this video says on Wednesday, March 9th, 2022, at approximately 10:53 p.m., Officer LaFave was on duty in full uniform displaying my, oh, he just copied the arrest narrative, displaying my badge and my marked NMSP patrol vehicle within the county of Benilio in the state of New Mexico. At this time, I was traveling west on Interstate 40 between Rio Grande and Coors Boulevard. There's some punctuation problems here. When I observed a vehicle weaving within its lane, I also observed the vehicle's tires drive on and over the painted line dividing and did not indicate a lane change. I pulled directly behind this vehicle. I activated my emergency equipment and conducted a traffic stop. I exited my patrol car and made contact with a female driver and asked defendant to provide me her driver's license, registration, and insurance. Defendant provided me her driver's license and vehicle insurance. While speaking with the defendant, I smelled a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage from the defendant and or vehicle. Defendant's eyes were bloodshot and watery. I asked the defendant to exit the vehicle, where I explained the reason for the stop. While outside of the vehicle, I continued to smell a strong odor of alcoholic beverage emitting from her breath as she spoke. I asked the defendant how much she had been drinking, and she admitted to consuming an alcoholic beverage, almost a beer, 11 hours prior to the traffic stop. So that's an interesting way of writing that one up. I don't think this guy specializes in OVI based on what I just read, but we'll go from there. If he does, they do things very different in New Mexico.
I don't have the insurance card on me.
Okay.
Can I give it to you online?
You get it on your phone?
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Sure.
Come on. All right.
Really? It's right here. Right here. Hey, dude, I'm stopping you.
Well, no, I was in and out of traffic,
Okay, well,
zooming in and out, speeding.
when I saw you, there was no traffic around you. Okay, but you were staying in your lane.
Well, I got a call from my son that he was worried that my mom wasn't home, and my aunt. This is a long story, so I was trying to rush home.
Okay, gotcha. And then like you started drifting over to the
Okay.
to lane to the right. Never signaled. Okay. Then you would exit onto Coors. Your tires once again went over the line.
I will tell you, I don't ever signal.
Okay. Well,
So that is an honest thing that I don't ever signal.
okay. So I'll come to the vehicle. There's only in the car. How much did you drink today?
Earlier.
How much was there?
Like a beer earlier.
Just one beer?
About a beer.
About a beer?
About a beer.
So was it one beer or was it more than one beer?
About a beer.
Okay.
One beer.
Okay. Cool.
Like I mean, this was like at 12 o'clock.
So like
I wanted to pause for a moment and just say goodnight to Jeannie. Hope you feel better soon. Jeannie's our cake baker, if you guys don't remember. So, good night, Jeannie.
Almost 11 hours ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Hang tight, okay? Flip on my flashing lights. Give me a small dog. Come here.
Is there any way that, like, I live like
Gotcha.
2 streets down?
Okay.
Can we just go to my house?
Why would we go to your house?
Well, my mom is really worried.
Okay.
That's all. The only reason why.
Cool. Well, this shouldn't take very long. Okay.
Should I get up?
Yes. Come sit right in front of me. Obviously, my job is to make sure everybody's safe out here on the road. Okay.
Okay.
Just turn and face me. Turn face me. Put your heel and toes together. Hands at your sides. Any major head injury?
No.
How old are you?
36.
Okay. See my finger? See my fingertip?
Yes.
Follow my fingertip with your eyes only. Don't move your head.
Is it an inappropriate time to talk about what he's doing? Do you guys know any of this stuff? And I might have misspoke before. He might be really good OVIs. He seems very confident. Right now, what he's doing is he's checking for horizontal gaze nystagmus, HGN. When you move your finger back and forth, the pupils they won't move smoothly. They will kind of jump. And if it's good body camera, sometimes you can actually see it in the body camera. This one, the light seemed to be messing it up a little bit, but we'll see.
I'm 10-4. This hand's going to move from left to right. Just fall the whole time. Don't move your head. Okay. Ready? You can see my fingertip, but actually follow it.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Okay. You want to follow my finger?
Well, I feel like I am, but you said not to move your head, but I am going this way. I don't want to move my head.
Copy. Yeah, don't move your head. 10-6 fields, 500, 426, 161. Okay, same thing. Here we go. Just follow fingers. Here, I'll make it easier on you. I'll make a little dot. Well,
he's drawing a dot on his finger. Some of like what he's doing so far, how he's moving so fast, you're just trying to see how the eyes track, and you're making sure that they track equally. I am not an expert at this. I haven't done this for a very long time. If I have somebody that I need to do an OVI with, I'll ask for help. But if one eye moves at a different rate than the other, or one moves, the other one stays straight, those are signs that you might not have alcohol, you might have other issues, and some of them are like safety concerns. So, and then Zach, you asked if contacts would affect it. I don't believe contacts would affect it.
I know you can see my finger, but actually stare at the case. You see that dot?
Yes.
Okay, just to stare at the dot. Okay. Here we go. Well, I know, but you're working this way. My finger wasn't there yet. Here we go.
There, I don't know if I can rewind just like 2 seconds, but right there you could see the twitch. It's hard because he covers his hand up a lot. Couple things. Sarah, you mentioned the ADHD. I will say that people failing field sobriety tests in the way that most people fail them and not being impaired, like they fail because of some other reason other than impairment, is like 1 in 5 million. So even people with a lot of other problems, they're not going to fail the field sobriety test. they just, generally speaking, they're not. There's going to be that one. Like, you have a chance at winning the Powerball, but I wouldn't count on it. Let's put it that way. But and then someone asked about the walk and turn. Moments in trading, the DUI part that every drunk fails is a series of small text steps, turn and walk a line. Believe it or not, there are cues for every single test, but the one that I'm most confident with is the HGN. The eyes do not lie ever. It's 100% spot on. You can do the HGN, and then basically I already know if this person is drunk or not. If they fly through the HGN, I don't get any of their signs, and then I'm sitting there talking to them, I don't smell alcohol, I might go ahead and just stop right there. If they fail the HGN, that's when I'll go on to the next test. And just most of the time they're going to fail those as well. But even if they don't fail those other tests, if you have the odor of alcohol and they fail the HGN, you still have enough to ask for a breath test.
So my finger was in there. Here we go.
I don't
Okay.
black.
Here we go.
No, I didn't.
Now I'm going up and down. Same thing, just with your eyes. Don't move your head.
So the part he's doing right now is, I don't know the NHTSA manual as well, and if there's OVI experts that are watching this, they're going to start tearing me to shreds. But you get a little bit this way, and if you get it on the vertical, you know that they're incredibly intoxicated. With her, when he goes up to the top, you can see her pupils really twitching. It's because it's a maximum deviation. You're holding it up and your eyes are struggling to keep that high angle. You really want to turn your head up because you're so drunk, your eyes are tired. And then I want to answer some of the questions. Was it Jake? Yeah, Jake, even though you said that you were drunk when the officer pulled up, they're still going to do the test because they need to be able to have evidence that you're drunk other than just statements, because a lot of stuff can get thrown out. So you want to have as many things to build your case as possible, knowing that 70% of the stuff that you do might get thrown out. And like, your admission of guilt might be admissible in one court with one judge, and it might not be admissible with the next court and the next judge. So it's best if an officer just goes through every single step the same way every single time. And that way you're practiced, and you can testify to the fact that you do the exact same way every time. And the attorneys like a defense attorney will watch a video and they'll be like, okay, this officer knows what he's doing. And they'll convince their client to try to take a deal or something like that. If the officer is missing steps, missing cues, not doing it 100% towards the manual, the attorney will try to get everything suppressed. And then you're going to end up having to go to trial. And the only charge you have is like your turn signal violation. So that's one of the reasons that they'll ask you to do everything throughout the process.
Two more quick checks. Any problems walking, bouncing, or turning?
No?
Can you walk right on those Nikes or?
Steve Madden's. They have a little hill on them.
Do you want to take them off? It's totally up to you.
No.
Okay, come over with me. Stand right there, my light, and face me. Okay, put your heel toes together, heels and toes. Those are your sides. Okay, right now the only thing I want you to do is just listen to me, okay? Miss Maldonado, can you imagine a straight line from your left foot to my right foot?
Yep. Left foot to your right foot? Okay.
Can you imagine a straight line in between us? Yes. Okay, the line width will be the width of your foot, which is about 4 inches wide. Okay, do you a favor, on that line, place your left foot just like this. Go do it for me now.
Oh, but I'm, okay.
That's my left.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
But I'm just looking at.
Here's something that a lot of people don't understand, is that listening to the instructions is actually part of the test. So when you're given these instructions, they're not able to follow simple commands. These are things that go in the report, and these are also signs of impairment that can be used against you. This is where most people actually screw up the test, is not listening to the commands properly.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Put your left leg on the line. Okay, now place your right foot in front of your left to heel the toe like I'm doing, and stay like that. Hands on your side. Oop.
Well, okay, so.
Flat your feet. Right foot in front of left, and stay like that. Nope.
You said left foot.
I said right foot in front of left. Right there. Hands on your sides. Right here. And do not move until I tell you to. Do you understand? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. For that position, when I tell you to begin, and only when I tell you to begin, you'll take a series of 9 heel toe steps down that imaginary line, just like this. Watch me. Don't start it. Just like this.
9.
1, 2, 3. I took 3. You will take 9. Once you take 9 steps, you'll make a turn. Watch how I turn. Keep your front foot planted with your back foot. Get back in that position.
Sorry.
Okay. You will end up in this position. Keep your front foot planted with your back foot. Bring it around like this. Taking a series of small steps. And now you face the opposite direction. Did you understand the turning process?
I think so.
Okay, let me show you again. Stay like that.
No, can I do it?
No, not yet. Okay, you should end up like this on your 9th step. Keep your front foot planted on the ground. Back foot comes around like this. Taking a series of small steps, turning all the way around.
Right.
Sure. Okay. Get back in the position. Right foot of left. Okay. After you take 9 steps and turn, you'll take 9 more. Step down that same line, just like this. 1, 2, 3. Back down number 9. Ma'am, during this test, keep your hands directly. Don't forget to touch heel to toe.
Yeah, the guy does talk really fast. It is what it is. Let's see how she does here. So the cues that you're looking at as an officer, people focus on the heel toe. She's doing good so far, but she has her arms out. She's supposed to keep her arms down at her side. If you have to lift your arms to balance, that's a cue. It doesn't mean you failed the test, but they're cues.
Okay, stay right down my line. Turn face me.
So another thing that he was doing was he was narrating to his body camera. So when he watched this later, he can type up his narrative in greater detail. I think she did the turn improperly, and then every time she marked off line, he would say that as well.
Put your heel toes together. Hands on your sides. Next test called the one leg stand. Okay, when I tell you to begin, what I want you to do is raise the.
Suck at this. Well, no, just in general. Like, I don't have good balance, but it's okay.
Okay. So, next test called the one leg stand. When I tell you to begin, okay, sides. Look down the foot that's elevated.
4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26.
Okay, you want to stop? Come over with me. Miss Moldov, stand right here and face my camera. Put both hands behind your back. Keep them there. Miss Moldov, right now, yes, you have the right to reason.
Alrighty, so he's decided that she's drunk and she's under arrest. Let's see. I'm trying to skip ahead a little bit, but it's hard. Officer was mean as camera on. You're killing me. All right.
Well, that's out of the question. Okay. I'm about to tell you something very important. You are under arrest for driving while under the influence of intoxicating liquor and or drugs. The Mexico Implied Consent Act requires you to submit to a breath test to determine the alcohol content of your blood. After you take our test, you will have the right to choose an additional independent test. If you choose to take this additional independent test, you will have the right to a reasonable opportunity to arrange for a physician, a licensed nurse, or laboratory technician or technologist who's employed by the hospital, or a physician of your own choice to perform additional chemical tests.
Can you tell me something in the car?
The cost, go here. The cost of this additional test will be paid for by the law enforcement agency, which is us, the National State Police.
Well, why is there 3 cops? You need backup?
No,
For me? Let alone me?
no, that's here for me. So it'll be paid for by the National State Police. Do you agree to take our test every time I'm asking for a breath test? This way, say yes or no.
Alrighty, so let's see some odd questions. Jake, you were saying that you can't balance on your new foot. I missed part about your old foot, but and then there's also a person. How would I be tested if I have no legs? We would just check your eyes. We would only do the test that you're able to do, and that's the reason that the officer, before he begins the test, will say, you know, do you have any problems with your legs? Do you have any problems standing on one foot? Are there any problems with your eyes? Have you had eye surgery? Have you had any head injuries recently? These are all things that would tell the officer that you might not do that test well. And then honestly, we just have to do the best with what we've got. If we've got a person who has no legs and they're driving with all hand controls, and we talk to them and they're slurring their speech, their eyes are bloodshot, they smell like alcohol. If we can do an HGN, we can just document that, hey, they smelled like alcohol, their eyes were bloodshot, they failed the HGN. I asked them to do a breath test. They submitted to a breath test. They blew a 1.5. Kind of how that goes.
Let's go back. Ma'am, this way, say yes or no.
I don't know what to say.
Okay, so here we go. So, because you haven't said yes or no, I would take your action as a refusal.
Well, no, I don't want to say a refusal. I don't know what to say.
Maybe by me telling you this will help you make up your mind. I cannot force you to take our test, but if you refuse, you will lose your next driver's license or non-res auto privilege for 1 year. If you are convicted in court for driving while under the influence, you may also receive a very sentence to you have refused to be tested. Furthermore, you charged with aggravated DWI. That's the way the law works here in the state of Mexico.
Okay, wait. So if I refuse, what?
You will lose your driver's license or non-resident auto privilege for 1 year. If you are convicted in court, you may also receive a greater sentence if you have refused to be tested. It's the way the law works here in the state of Mexico.
None of that makes no sense to me. I'm so cold, but like none of that makes no sense to me.
Here we go. If you refuse, you could lose your license for up to a year.
So you're saying to take a test?
I'm asking you to take a test. You can say yes, you can say no. I can't force you to take a test.
Do I have to have these cuts on me?
Yeah, unfortunately, this one.
Why? I'm not gonna do it.
Gotcha. It's
Bless. What am I gonna do? I mean, I don't know.
yeah. Open your mouth real quick. Open your mouth. What's in your mouth? Is there anything in your mouth other than teeth and tongue?
No.
Okay, that's perfect. I mean, that's what I need you to say.
What I have?
5, 4, 7, 6.
No, what I have in my mouth.
2310, going short, 1015 to 1047. The pie has been read. She didn't say yes or no. She's gonna think about it. I need a 46. You have a phone in the car?
Can you do me a favor? Can we just drive me to my house real quick so I can like tell my mom?
Well, I'm gonna get your phone.
But I'm across the street.
Alrighty. She's talking like every drunk that talks. I wanted to get back to some of the like bird brain. You're being persistent by asking. I didn't highlight the right question, but you're concerned that you would fail the test whether you were sober or not. If your driving is okay and you don't smell like alcohol, you don't have to worry about the test. That's the thing that a lot of people kind of forget, that the only reason you're taking the field sobriety test because an officer thinks that you're drunk. If you're driving okay and you're not slurring, you don't smell like alcohol, you don't have to worry about taking field sobriety tests. You shouldn't have to. And if you have some kind of other impairment that's not due to drugs or alcohol or something like that, those are extremely rare. But I don't know. There are some cases out there, but like I said, your odds of failing all of this stuff and not being impaired or intoxicated is about the same as winning the Powerball. So people do play the Powerball, or people do win the Powerball, but not as many people as actually play it.
I can't do that. You can't.
Oh, and I think I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but I wanted to talk a little bit about him saying that you do have the right to refuse the test. This is something that I think a lot of people don't understand. I was thinking about doing a whole video on it, kind of like a revisiting of the prosecutor video. Yeah, I don't know if all the states are exactly the same, but every state that I've ever talked to anyone out of, and I even talked to a couple of attorneys that are in different states. You still have the right to refuse tests because you're not forced to incriminate yourself in the United States. So if an officer walks up to your car and they say, "Hey, I think I smell alcohol. Your eyes are bloodshot. I think you're intoxicated. I'd like to get out and perform some field sobriety tests." You have the right to refuse to do those. And then you have the right to refuse to do a chemical test. You might have increased penalties and fines if you do so, but you also have a better chance of beating the charge if you don't submit to any tests. So if you refuse a test, your license might automatically get suspended for a year. But then when you go to court, if the case is dismissed, the court might, well, actually, your license will still be suspended, but you'll get probably driving privileges, but you won't have a conviction on your record. So that's stuff to keep in mind.
No, that's we. No, I'm not worried about that. But we. What's your? Is it unlocked?
All zeros.
Oh, that's pretty easy. All zeros. And is it under mom?
I hope she changed her cell phone password after that.
Martha 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it.
Should I check up on you?
No, don't do that. I have her on speakerphone.
Thank God.
Okay, now would not be the time to make a run for it. It's just fences around here. Barbed wire.
Not now, huh?
Big dogs.
Who's gonna come for me? You?
Yeah, I'll catch you easily in a heartbeat. I'm just saying. I mean, I know that you're an athlete and all, but I once was too. Here,
just so I don't get behind on the questions, theoretically, if somebody was in a truck and have to be very tired, not drunk, it doesn't matter if you're in a truck, in a car, or whatever. If you're really tired, you're really tired. You're not drunk. Some of the stipulations with having a CDL and stuff, those are not enforced by us. Your logbooks and stuff, that's a different issue. And that's something that I don't deal with freeway. I don't deal with truck drivers, but the officers who have the additional training and stuff, they might come and do something like that, but you don't have to worry about this OVI crap. What else was there? The implied consent. This is something that Lackluster got really confused about on his video, where he called me naive and said that I didn't know what I was talking about and that he needed to talk to a real police officer before he understood what implied consent was. The implied consent means that you're acknowledging that if you refuse to take tests, there will be increased penalties. That's what that means. I don't know any other way to say it. You have the right to refuse because you're a United States citizen and you're protected under the Constitution of the United States. If you feel that the 1 year license suspension is too strict and that you are not so concerned that you're going to be convicted of drunk driving, go ahead and submit to the tests. Or if you're completely sober and all the other stuff, go ahead and submit to the tests. Otherwise, I would recommend most people don't.
right here. Let me get you a chair. Have a seat. So, what kind of athlete were you?
I did softball, volleyball, basketball, tennis, but I wasn't good at tennis.
Not track.
Long, not sprinting.
Okay. So if you made a run for it, out of the country, if you happen to get to the 800 mark, you probably would have had a chance.
I don't know what adrenaline does to people.
Yeah, well, I'd have been pumped up too. Like, yeah, we get to run.
I'd still try.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, you should have just let me go from the beginning.
Quotas are illegal, man. So here we go. I'm gonna read this to you again because you didn't say yes or no. Okay. So listen to me. I am about to tell you something very important. You are under arrest for driving while under the influence of intoxicating liquor and/or drugs. The New Mexico Implied Consent Act requires you to submit to a breath test to determine the alcohol content of your blood. After you take our test, you have the right to choose an additional independent test. If you choose to take this additional independent test, you have the right to reasonable opportunity to arrange for a physician, a licensed nurse, or laboratory technician or technologist who's above the hospital, or a physician of your own choice to perform an additional chemical test. The cost of this additional test will be paid for by the law enforcement agency, which is us, the New Mexico State Police. Ms. Maldonado, do you agree to take our test, at which I'm asking you for a breath test?
So I have sorry. I literally feel like I have a...
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
It's bothering me. Thank you.
It's out.
So I have the option to ask a doctor of my choice to test me.
After you take our test, it's the secondary independent test. But you must submit to my test first.
Oh, and if I don't, then
In case of that, no, I got to read you.
And I'm an aggravated.
Aggravated automatically. But if you, hypothetically, let's say you said no, I would tell you this. I cannot force you to take our test, but if you refuse, you will lose your New Mexico driver's license or non-resident operator privilege for 1 year. If you are convicted in court for driving while under the influence, you may also receive a jail sentence if you have refused to be tested. Do you understand? So, here in about a few minutes, I'm going to run the machine. It's going to say, please blow until the tone stops. You have approximately 3 minutes to change your mind, or you have approximately 3 minutes to submit to testing. And if you don't, I write you the consequences. You aggravated automatically. Okay?
Yeah.
No, that's cuffed while you're here. You're an athlete.
Are you afraid of me?
You're an athlete, remember?
Goodness gracious. I was waiting for for her to say yes or no before I stopped the video so I could show you guys my whiskey. I can do this. The whiskey tonight is a Japanese whiskey, Suntory whiskey, Taki. I don't know how to pronounce things. I already said I'm not good at words. That is my Japanese whiskey for the night. It is 86 proof. Usually I come down with like a high proof American bourbon. But this is one that we were talking about getting a Japanese whiskey for our collection. And we started kind of looking into them, trying to decide which ones we wanted. And my wife went to the liquor store one day and told the guy that we're considering buying some Japanese whiskey. And he basically guilted her into buying this one. He said this was his favorite. So she brought it home. And well, we don't really care for it. So we've got a lot. And I figured since instead of drinking all the good stuff that my wife and I enjoy drinking together, I'll drink one that we typically don't drink together to try to burn through some of it. So the thing about Japanese whiskeys, I don't know a lot about Japanese whiskeys, but they're blended typically, and they have these like master blenders, and they want them to be extremely smooth and really easy to drink. This thing, it has like no smell. Like I can stick my nose right in it and just take a full breath and it doesn't really affect me. You can see the color. It's a really simple whiskey. It almost tastes like a grappa or something. It's like really sweet, like kind of tones of Oh, I'm so bad at this. Like pear. I don't know. It's good. It's just really delicate, and really soft and kind of sweet, which is not really what I look for in a whiskey. But that was the Officer Ben's whiskey talk of the night. And it is kind of hilarious that I'm drinking whiskey while we watch OVIs, but I drink whiskey no matter what we're watching, so it doesn't really matter. Let me see. And I see that there's some people here that like this stuff, which that's fine. It's good. Like, it's a really smooth, easy to drink whiskey. If you're kind of new into drinking whiskeys, I would recommend something like this. I like a more full bodied kind of one that they call it that Kentucky hug, you know. It kind of burns going down. That's what I look for. I like my favorite whiskey right now is probably Wild Turkey Rare Breed. That and Old Forester 1920. I've got a bottle of like a Knob Creek single barrel select or something upstairs that's 120 proof. I like that kind of stuff. Barrel proof whiskeys. Jack Daniel's barrel proof. I don't know if I brought one of those down one of those nights before, but that's also another fantastic one. We haven't hit that bottle for a while, so maybe when the wife gets home, we'll hit that one up as a good night. So, all right. I think she consented to the video, to the test, and you can tell that this is now the flirty part. So this is going to be this. I don't know. Let's give it a watch.
No, hey. I mean, girls are tough. I don't take girls lightly. Girls are tough, especially girls wearing those kind of shoes. Those what again? What'd you call them?
They're just Steve
LeBron? Steve Madden.
They're not athlete shoes.
No?
Steve Madden is not an athlete.
Steve Madden's not an athlete?
He's not.
What does he do?
He is just a designer.
Probably not an athlete then, no.
He's not
No.
an athlete. He is big, I think. I mean,
Did she say he is not an athlete? He's gay, I think. That's kind of hilarious. And then I'm going to try to talk over some of this. You guys let me know if you can hear me, because I don't want to keep having to stop this. This is going to take 3 hours. And he messed up here by talking about her shoes. I just want to throw that out there, that he brought on the flirtiness.
no, he just designs shoes.
What those nice shoes?
Yeah. Probably should have wore white, huh?
White shoes? Why? What would white shoes?
Well, because isn't that what you're supposed to wear when you're going to jail?
The look on her face is so creepy.
White.
Orange.
Because because I've been to jail before.
You have?
You told me that you should wear white.
I wonder who said, well, I don't know if you should be wearing Steve Maddens.
Wear white because
See, these are the conversations that I shut down. I don't entertain people in these situations. I'm all about being super cool, but I can't stand this stuff.
You didn't need them anyway, did you? Oh, you already wore them. So, hey.
I mean, this was years ago, but not for this.
Why were you in jail a few years ago?
Well, I had a firefighter boyfriend who liked to beat people, so I just ended up fighting back.
So you beat him? Good.
No, I didn't beat him. I ended up going to jail because he had blood on his chin.
Because he had blood on his chin?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Mind you, I'm 5'4". He was 6'5". I'm not really sure what damage I would do.
Holy smokes. That's a huge difference.
It sure is. A big dude.
Is he still a fireman?
Mm-hmm.
Still?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He's married and everything. He has a whole new life.
Whole new life, whole new wife, huh?
I mean, years later, but just wonders what somebody sticking with you will do, right?
I think that she's absolutely batshit crazy.
You're not married?
And that story that she just told is probably bullshit.
Yeah?
Yeah, no more.
Oh, God.
Life happens. Sometimes you just fly out of love. Just doesn't work out.
How old are you?
How do you think I am?
No. This guy is falling for every single one of her traps. He deserves every bit of this. This is horrible. Like when she's sitting there asking if he's married and he's giving no, don't give all those details out. Like you already know that she's being flirty and she's being weird. Like, don't make it weird, man.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not young.
42.
Thank you. I'm almost 50.
What is this ball?
It's a monkey fist. It's a steel ball in there. So in case I have to, in case we want to run because they're athletes, I just throw it at them.
What does that do?
It might hurt.
Oh, my uncle used to do that with something different.
Yeah, it's just pretty much just a key holder.
Warrants.
Your uncle does?
She does. I know what she would get caught.
Well, where's he at?
My grandpa would kill me if I said.
Okay, well, I don't want your grandpa to kill you, so don't say.
What happens if you do have 5 warrants?
Nothing.
Traffic, nothing.
Oh, for traffic? Like just like regular traffic stuff?
Like speeding, you don't go to court.
Yeah, I mean, you just have warrants and then you wait till you get picked up, honestly.
That doesn't happen.
No, you just have warrants. Your license gets suspended, but you still drive. Yeah, nothing happens. Now,
Like me.
yeah, so he get taken in, pay his fines, or have to see a judge, and then be done with it. That's really it.
Does it get worse? Can you guys hear me all right when I talk over this stuff? I'm just curious. I need feedback. It's like the awkward waiting part.
What?
It's on my phone.
No, your phone's in there.
I hear it.
Okay. Well, it's in here. Oh, I heard it from that way, but okay. It might be your phone.
It is my phone.
Okay.
I know who it is.
It's your mom.
No.
She's not happy with you.
No, my mom is pissed.
I know she told your son that you're getting locked up.
Why would she? What parent says that?
Your mom.
My mom is an idiot. She really is. Oh my. But my mom, for saying that, she just has no sense.
Okay. Right now the machine says please blow until tone stops. Let me know if you want to give me 2 breath samples.
Should I blow?
What's that?
Where should I blow?
Well, if you want to, just tell. Okay, so right here's a brand new mouthpiece. No one's ever used it. Okay. What you're gonna do is you take a deep breath, blow like a balloon. Don't stop blowing until I tell you to.
You're gonna put it in my mouth.
I'll put it in your mouth.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Tell me
It's awful.
Ready? Take a deep breath and blow. Like a balloon. Harder. Okay, there you go. Okay, blow constantly like a balloon. Like blow up a balloon. You know how big a balloon is.
Well, I
Deep
have
breath.
an idea in my mind, and it seems weird. Sorry.
Okay, don't let it be weird.
So what now?
Take a deep breath and blow hard like a balloon. Harder. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't change your flow. Oh, you change your flow. Take a deep breath from your lungs and blow hard. Blow. Nope. Harder. Keep going. Don't stop. A little harder. Thank you.
I'm trying.
There's your first sample.
What does that
0.15.
mean? And that means
You're almost to the aggravated level. You're almost twice the legal limit.
twice.
Almost. It means that you are legally intoxicated.
Yeah, she was killing me. Especially when she was like, she's like, I was thinking about something else when you put it in my mouth. That was, it's hard to keep a straight face during that. I don't know how he's doing it. This is horrible. Let's see. There was a question up here. This one. Wonder if a good lawyer, if you could have your cards played right, somehow get out of it because the officer and his speech impediment. That could definitely be a defense tactic. I don't know how much you could get out of it because they'll still look at the totality of the circumstance. But that would definitely be a tactic of the defense, I would expect.
Well, I was on this one.
Well, they say accidents always, a lot of accidents happen close to home, especially on Coors.
I've been up and down that road too many times.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Can I take these off here?
Almost.
I already did my test.
No, I said 2 breaths. Almost done. How many kids you have?
This one.
Just one?
12 going on 18.
Nice.
He's a good boy, though. I'm a hard mom.
Well, yeah, you're a fighter. That's what those are your words.
You're not wrong.
No, I'm not, because I heard you right. Take a deep breath and blow.
You're not wrong.
Harder. Harder. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Up. You changed your flow. Okay, so, yeah, you did, because the machine actually knows. So deep breath like.
It's fine, I'm trying.
I know you know.
Rest.
Hard breath. Hard. Harder. Keep that tone going. Harder. Nope. Nope. Keep going. More. Nope. You keep stopping. Come on. Come on, Jenna. You got this. Take a deep breath and blow.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's what you're saying.
What am I saying? Okay.
Fine.
Okay, take a deep breath and blow. One deep breath. Nope, not hard enough. Good. Harder. Keep that tone going. Harder. Harder. Up. Nope. You hear that tone? You don't, do you? Yeah, that's because you're not blowing hard enough. Deep breath. One big breath and blow hard. Hard. Nope. Keep going. Nope. You can. Here. Maybe you stand up. Let's stand up, John.
I don't think that's gonna work.
Oh my god. I'm gonna have to make like a highlight reel of this one. This is incredible. He has to know what he's doing. Like when he's saying that stuff and the way she's acting, he absolutely has to know what he's doing. Like my wife's out with the kids right now, and she watches the stream on her phone a lot when she's hanging around. But I'm gonna have to. This is gonna sound bad, but I have to play this for her. when we put the girls to bed, we're gonna play this video. Whew. And like when he says you got to keep the tone going, it sounds like he's saying you got to keep the tongue going. Oh, this is bad. And then when he said, I'm gonna have to have you stand up, she goes, I don't think that's gonna work.
No, we'll try it. Take a deep breath and blow hard. Harder. You're not blowing. Yeah. You're not blowing the curd off your hand. Blow a balloon up. Nice big breath.
I'm doing my best for you.
Thank you. Harder. Nope. Nope. Keep that tone going. Keep going. Harder. Nope. Keep up. No. Nope. Okay, hey Jenna. Hey.
You see me.
I know.
And I'm blowing.
Yeah, but you're not blowing hard enough. So take a deep breath and like this. Just keep just like that. Let's try that. Ready and go.
I paused it at a bad spot. This she gets so excited. Oh, I know you guys are all seeing the same thing I'm seeing, but oh, this is horrible.
Harder. No. Harder. I'm going harder. Harder. No. Keep going. Don't stop. No. No. You keep trying harder.
I'm not changing anything.
Hard. Just like that. No. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. Almost. No. Keep going. No. Okay.
I am trying my hardest.
Oh God. Everything is so bad. She's like, the way she puts her lips on it, like we're all adults here. But like the way, and then if you saw, her cheeks were going in and out while she was doing it. I'm trying not to be too bad. But then she's like, I'm doing the best I can for you. I'm dying.
Thank you. Okay, it's okay. Just have a seat.
Oh, that's not aggravated.
No, I didn't say it's aggravated because you are tempting. Okay.
You're mad at me.
I'm not mad. Trust me. It takes a lot more than that to get me mad.
You saw me.
I did.
What does that mean?
Nothing. It just means that your second sample was insufficient. That's all it means. Jenna, what's your social?
Sergeant George, I don't think the problem is that she's watched too many movies. I think she has a lot of experience. She's crazy. I already mentioned this before. She's crazy. The whole, like, I beat up a firefighter that was 6'5" and got put in jail. She's absolutely nuts. And I have to be careful about what I say, but she's nutty. She has a lot of practice. Let's put it that way.
What do you think you've been jailed for fighting?
Yeah, probably.
I gotta be so violent, girl.
Not like that. Just what I thought I would if I ever did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like hypothetically, if you ever went to jail, you.
Like if I ever. Yeah, first time wasn't my fault. I didn't overpower someone who was a little bit taller than me. A little thing.
Yeah.
Am I not?
No, you are not that tall.
So Jeannie, before she left, said that there's a surprise at the end. So I'm waiting for the surprise. So I'm gonna try to be quiet for the last minute and a half here.
What's that?
We have one on a date tomorrow.
A date tomorrow? Well, you're gonna be in jail, girl.
I have to go off if you would just take me home.
I got fired.
No.
Okay, I can't be taking you home. Okay. You're supposed to be charging up. I'll put you in there temporarily. I'll let it charge a little bit more. Any questions before we go in there? Or you go in there?
What am I gonna go in there and do?
Just sit on the bench.
I have to pee.
Get right this way. Right there. Take a left and take another left. Take her to the actual ladies. Okay, that one's jacked up, so we're gonna go to this one here. Take a left. All the way down this hall.
You know who you can call?
Who can I call?
You can call the person I was with.
Okay, what do you want me to tell that person?
She
she later.
Freak out.
Oh, she.
What? Am I supposed to be like this?
So that'd be pretty amazing, but I'll take these off.
Like I could be like that.
You're an athlete, remember? You're an athlete. Athletes could do anything. Okay, right in there.
Oh, that wasn't a surprise ending. That was something. I mean, she did say that she could probably pee with her hands cupped behind her back. I'm sure she could, but it would be gross. That whiskey is way too easy to drink. Brett, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate you. You're always here. You're amazing. I really appreciate it. There was a question up here. Let's see. In Ohio, this is a good question. If you refuse a breath test, you said breath test, and end up not being found guilty, do they still suspend your license? Yes. That's the implied consent thing. So you have the right to refuse, but as a condition of having a driver's license in the state of Ohio, you consent to taking a breath test. If you withdraw, you can't really withdraw your consent. But if you refuse to do it, it's kind of like, I'm going to do this and make myself bigger, show you my ugly face. It's kind of like a broken promise. You know, when you get your driver's license, you're promising that if a police officer believes there's probable cause to have you take a breath test and he might possibly charge you with the OVI, you're promising by signing that paperwork that you will submit to a test. If you break that promise, your license is now suspended. It's called an administrative license suspended. It's a function of the BMV. It's not a legal function. So your license will still be suspended, but you will be found not guilty and it won't go on your record, if that makes any sense. It will show that you had prior, I forget what they call it, what it looks like on the computer. Like, it's not an OVI suspension. I think it just says like prior administrative suspension, but it won't show prior OVIs. So like in the state of Ohio, if you have multiple OVIs within a 5-year period, and then there's another tier for like a 10-year period, they get increased penalties and fines and becomes a felony. You can have multiple OVIs dismissed and not be charged with a felony, even though you have multiple OVI suspensions, if that makes sense. And also, I am not the biggest drunk driving expert in the world. I was trained on it, and I have had no additional training. So my OVI training is 11 years old at this point. Not something I do very much. Let's see. Implied consent still suspended. Yeah. How long did you retire? That's what it means. Well, no. Implied consent still suspended if your BAC is below the legal limit. So what you're asking is, if I pull over a car and I say, hey, I think you're drunk, I want you to take a breath test. You submit to a breath test and you're below the legal limit. In Ohio, it's 0.07. If you blow a 0.05, that means you're not above the prohibited level. It means I give you your license back and you can go on your way. No suspension, no nothing. What he was asking, I thought, was if you refuse to take a test. And if I said it wrong, I'm sorry about that part. Let's see. Oh, and everyone's dropping the thank you for your service. I didn't do it for you guys. I did it for myself. Thank you very much. Let's see. You should do some UK police. Oh, that would be interesting. Are there good channels for like UK police stuff? Like OVIs and like regular everyday runs? I haven't seen them. So if there are, send them to me. You can email me. My email address is on the channel. Join my Discord or follow me on Instagram. There's not a lot of people in here. My Instagram is slowly growing. It's about 2 months old. I'm a little over 500 followers. I enjoy Instagram a lot. Instagram is like, for what I do, like a really chill place, a really supportive place to hang out, share memes, funny videos, I don't know. I enjoy Instagram quite a bit, so it's a good place to send me links and stuff. Let's see. Retired over 30 years. Not in Ohio. Yeah. But I think I might have said it wrong. That's why you got confused about that. Let's see. You're welcome for the mustache. Ben, little off topic, but do officers have GPS in their vehicles that route them to calls? No, not necessarily. I guess here we'll go ahead and we're kind of done watching the body camera. We'll just go to random ask questions. Random ask question time. But do we have GPSs in our vehicles that route us to calls? On the department I work for, no. I used to use a GPS. Like I bought I had a Garmin and then I had a TomTom. I used to keep it up in the windshield at all times. It was really handy, especially when you're like a newer officer or you're in a part of town that you've never worked before, because when you air anything that you're doing, and like I work inner city, very busy, chaotic area, I could be driving along and you never know what you're gonna find, what's gonna jump out at you. And if you're not really paying attention to where you're at, looking up at that GPS and saying, "Hey, I'm at the corner of High and 3rd Street in the alley just south of," that GPS is like a lifesaver. Now that I've been working the area that I've been working for so long, I don't need it. The only problem is sometimes my age gets to me. If you missed the beginning of the stream, I told the dispatcher I was in one place and I was like miles away from there for an hour waiting on a tow truck that was trying to find me. There's a program that we have that will technically it can route us to places, but it's like ancient technology, so we don't use it. I'm sure there might be some departments that have better programs. I think the fire department actually has like a routing system because they always get to places pretty quickly. Like if I see them running, they'll get directly to a spot pretty well. And I know the roads as well, and if not better than anybody. So I think they use some kind of routing system, but we don't. Let's see. I don't know how many of you guys pay my salary. I don't know if you guys live in my jurisdiction, but I'll take the nickel from my salary that you paid for me and say thank you. I know who that super chat was from. Thank you very much, man. I saw it pop up. I thought it was a 5. It was a 50, but thank you very much. Like, you're awesome. You're always there for me. I appreciate it quite a bit. And I won't highlight your name. Oh, Jace, did you ever correct me in the chat? Is it Janace? Like, tell me if I'm wrong, or send me an email, or on every video that you comment, because you always do. Tell me if I said your name wrong or right. Tomorrow, let's see. Oh, I'm changing up my upload schedule a little bit for this channel. It used to be body camera videos on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This channel was Tuesday, Thursday. But when I do Wednesday night live streams, I think it kind of messes up my views for the video that comes up at like 5:30 in the morning the day after, because most people are still trying to watch the live stream from the night before. So I'm going to release my next video Friday afternoon. So it'll be Tuesday morning, and then body camera Wednesday morning, Thursday no video, and then Friday will be body camera in the morning, thoughts of a patrol officer in the afternoon. So make sure I announce that to you guys. Some good stuff you find. Yeah. Going too fast and reading. And also 223, I'm glad that you've accepted your new nickname. I appreciate that. Glad you're not offended. Let's see. Is a blood test only taking... This is a good question. Is a blood test only taken if a breath test is refused, or can you prefer to take a blood test so you don't look like the last woman? That's a good question. Let's see. Blood tests are only given under specific circumstances. If you have prior OVI convictions and you're looking at a felony, at least in the state of Ohio, a felony OVI, and you refuse to take a breath test, I can get a warrant to get a blood draw. Can you consent to a blood draw instead of a breath test? I want to say you can, but I'm not 100% on that one. We would much prefer to do a less invasive test. It's also possible that I would not allow you to do blood instead of breath, because a blood test is determined to be more invasive, that we need a warrant to get blood in most cases. And if you voluntarily gave blood, I bet an attorney could find a way to get that suppressed. So depending on the judge and the jurisdiction, all that, if you're in some like rural county or whatever, a judge is probably going to take most things. In some of these like big city courts, they throw out all kinds of stuff because they don't want to go to trial. They don't want complicated cases. They just make it dumbed down and simple as possible. So you have to be 100% by the book all the time. Anything that's even slightly different, they're just going to toss. Yeah, Russian cops don't screw around. This is not a firefighter mustache. It's just not. I'm going to leave it at that. Let's see. Oh, good. Janace. I'm saying it correctly. So it has some good international videos. Random ask question. Yeah. No, you guys are all wrong. You're wrong. Let's see. How many costs? That's a good question. I don't know that many people. I think of my regular viewers and people that are on the stream, I think there's only 3 cops that I know of. And you're one of them. Let's see. How do I set up my patrol belt? Most of us set up our belts the same way. It's really not complicated. I would show it to you. It's upstairs though. Basically in the front, the first thing, like, you got my buckle, and then right next to it is my mace pouch. I don't use mace ever, but I carry it because I think I'm required to. Next to that is my key ring. Right behind that is my gun. Behind my gun on my right side is my main set of cuffs. You go to the center of my back is my secondary set of cuffs. I should have had my belt with me. I have what do you call it? The cuffs that are like linked like this, hinge cuffs. I have a set of hinge cuffs that I use for everybody. Then the set that I have in my center, if I have a big guy that requires 2 sets of cuffs, I'll break those out, put them on. They're also slightly smaller, and it's a set of chain cuffs. So I use those if I have a really small female. I'll actually swap out and grab those. The next thing on my belt is my flashlight. And then I have my taser. And then directly in the front, I have my ammo pouches. If that's the walkthrough you were looking for. Let's see that. See. I think if you want to get a blood test on your own after you're released, you can. I think that's kind of works, but I don't know. I don't do OVIs very much, so like I said, I'm not super expert. Let's see my former life. Let's see. But no, any nurse can do the blood draw. And then there was some confusion a couple years ago because it was I don't know if it was an Ohio Supreme Court decision or a federal district court decision, but there was a decision that came down from a judge that says we can't just get blood draws. We have to get a warrant for a blood draw. The hospital staffs were advised of this. And we had a couple of nurses that refused to draw blood until they could see the warrant. That's not how it works. They thought that they would get in trouble if they did an illegal blood draw. The only thing that happens if we do a blood draw when we weren't supposed to or out of policy or whatever is that it gets dismissed. You can always get sued civilly, but it's not going to go anywhere. When we get a warrant, basically we type up the warrant, we print it, we have an officer go find the judge will sign it, or the they'll do it electronically. The officer will, you upload it to like a system, you call the judge and wake him up, and he reads the warrants. He'll do an electronic signature. The officer who is dealing with that part for you will call you and say, hey, your warrant's good. You go to the nurse and you say, we've got the warrant, draw the blood. We don't bring paper warrants into places. That's not how it works. Just like if you have a warrant for your arrest, I don't need to show you the warrant. You have one. And if I'm wrong, then I'm the one that gets screwed, not you or anything like that. Let's see. Well, you can refuse and ask for a doctor to do it. Going down. Tiger Lily, you're still up. Thank you very much for the donation. And I'm glad that you're still up and you're still with us. Oh, you're off to bed now. Well, good night. I hope you sleep well. So you're not sure about that. I missed yeah, I think I might have explained part of that already. Serban might have been an actor in this. No. Let's see. I'm like behind, so I'm trying to scroll a little bit faster. Let's see. Do you have to arrest someone often enough? Read that again. Do you have to arrest someone often enough that it happens every week? Oh, like basically, am I busy enough that I have to arrest somebody every week? No. Trying to think. It's rare that I go a week without arresting somebody, but it's not always like a big deal. Like a lot of times it's just somebody with warrants. Technically, I arrested a guy the other day, but I had guard duty him at the hospital. He was already under arrest. I just took him to jail. I don't know. I work in a very busy area, so there's a lot of arrests that I have to make, but it's not daily. But there's like a couple weeks ago, I think, well, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I was at the jail twice in the same day, and obviously they remember me because of the mustache, and that was kind of rare. But I don't go around arresting a lot of people. I don't look for reason to arrest people. With the limitations on what we can arrest for right now, it's a little bit more rare. But I don't know. See how Canada I was living in Florida, so I get confused. Sorry, I'm reading these out loud. That's interesting. That might be an Indiana thing, but in Ohio, no, it doesn't have to be a special nurse. Everyone can draw blood in Ohio. I'm sorry that happened to your brother, man. Restricted. Oh, that's a good cop question. Are you restricted for duty firearms, or can you carry whatever you want and what caliber you want? The department that I work for, they issue our firearm. I carry a Smith & Wesson 9mm. It's an M&P 9. We all carry the same thing on duty. Off duty, I can carry. I mean, there's a list and there's some things that you can't carry, but I can carry pretty much anything that I want off duty, as long as I qualify with it annually. I carry a Glock 19, which is a 9mm Glock, off duty. The reason I carry that gun is because it's affordable and it's always going to fire when I need it to fire. That's all I care about with off duty guns. Let's see. I saw a headline from Downtown Patrol Services International Patrol Car. What's your thoughts on this one? That might be a complicated question. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Security companies, I don't know. Most security guards are not very useful people. I'm going to put it that way. Also, there are some places that I really wish would have security because it would just cut down on problems. I think most security guards are there just for show, and they serve that purpose. The people who are working as security guards, I don't have a lot of faith in most of the ones that I've seen. I'm just going to put it that way. You recall talking about Blackwater in the past? I mean, yeah, I worked for Blackwater in the past, but it has nothing to do with like security guards. That's like Comparing Blackwater to security guards is like comparing Major League Baseball to T-ball. Let's see. How many encounters are the most frequent subject over the years? This is a very common thing. Like it's like the 90-10 rule. You spend 90% of your time with 10% of the population. And I deal with the same people daily and have for over a decade to the point where there was a guy that I pulled up. I got a call about a suspected dope house that said people were going up and down the alley back in the backyard of this house, and they wanted us to go check it out. So I drove up the alley, and the description that I got of a house wasn't specific enough for me to find the house. But when I got to the end of the alley, there's a car sitting there with the doors open. And there was like a little bit of traffic, and long story short, I had to go around the block and come back to the car. So I flipped around, I come back to the car. By the time I got back, the doors were closed and I could see people sitting in the car. So I walked up to the car to talk to them, and there was this guy who I know his first name, I know his last name, I know his mother. He's somebody that I used to arrest almost weekly because he always had a crack stem in his sock. It was guaranteed. And if he was causing a problem, I would just search him, I'd find his stem, I'd take him to jail. I saw him, he looked very different. He told me, it was funny, he told me that he's doing better now that he's clean. And I was like, I looked at the people he was with, I'm like, you're not clean. He goes, well, I haven't used Fetty. So he just smokes crack now. He considers no longer being addicted to opiates, only smoking crack. He considers that clean. And that's like a frequent flyer. We deal with the same people all the time. That's about it. Let's see. There you go. Opata teaches that under Birchfield versus North Dakota, you should obtain a warrant for blood because penalties are involved and it brings consent into question. That would be basically what I would assume, although I went through Opata way before warrants were necessary, but it seems logical to me. Brent, ask your question again. I don't know if I can find it. Let's see. Smith & Wesson M&P. Oh my God. I don't know. That's just what they choose for us. I can carry a backup. I don't. Let's see. In New York, we have open carry, so LES can't. Yeah, I've heard some weird things about New York. I've never looked into the law there, but I don't know. It's weird. Just your thoughts on comparing them to usual cops. Yeah, those security patrol guys and all that, nothing like regular cops. They have no authority. They tell you to do something other than they can tell you to leave a property. Other than that, they can't detain you. They can't do any of that kind of stuff. That's good. Let's see. You need to move. Oh. Let's see. Trying to go fast because I think you should watch. Yeah, that interview with Eric Prince, I will second that. I almost shared it on my channel. I wanted to take little excerpts of it, but I don't want to steal from the guy. But Eric Prince is an interesting guy, and that was an excellent interview. When what's the channel called? Vigilance Elite. When he does his videos, he does a really good job of time stamping them because it was like a 3-hour video. But if you want to know about Blackwater, how Blackwater started, everything that Blackwater did overseas, and about Eric Prince, the founder, and know the truth about what happened and not just the bullshit that was in the media, that was an excellent interview. Let's see. I'm probably like 8 minutes behind, so I'm probably going to miss some questions as I scroll here. Oh no, I'm caught up. It is 8:49. Let's see. I wish I could have. Oh, this one. And James, I haven't seen you yet. Here's the thing. It says, how's it going? Oh crap, where'd it go? I just had like a glitch in the matrix. How's it going, Ben? I wish I could have heard back on my comment asking whether or not the pursuit should have been terminated in the snow pursuit video. You know, on that channel, I have to be careful about quoting policy and stuff like that. It's not the purpose of that channel. It's not my purpose on that channel. As far as a pursuit being terminated, it's hard for me to say because the pursuit could have stayed on, but the guy driving that vehicle definitely was not driving with due regard. Let's put it that way. Due regard is like the law that we follow as police officers when we're driving. It doesn't matter if we're in a pursuit, if we're just running lights and sirens. Due regard for safety. He just wasn't using due regard. Should the pursuit have been terminated? You have to consider why you were pursuing that person. If that was a car that you believed somebody had warrants for armed robbery, that's very different than someone who just committed an armed robbery. So I think those are things to consider. The other part is it's on you as an officer to determine whether or not you can safely continue. Supervisors will cancel pursuits given certain circumstances if they have all the information. In that case, I don't think a supervisor would have had all the information about what was actually going on out there. For the most part with that pursuit, I thought it was pretty much good to go. The major issue is when they went on the sidewalk. I probably wouldn't have done that or driven onto oncoming traffic on a 2-lane double yellow against the light. Those were some things that the officer probably got in trouble for. Now, can you continue the pursuit without doing those things? Possibly. You probably would have lost the car. The correct answer would be that you can still continue the pursuit as long as you drive with due regard. You don't do those things that he did wrong, but he probably would have lost the car. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see. No. Do you have to have a firearms license to become a cop? No. You go through the academy, you get a badge, and that becomes your concealed carry permit for basically anywhere you want to go, with a very few exceptions. That's crazy. In New York, I thought they could carry off duty, but they had to follow the regular rules. So like on duty New York police officers, I think they still carry 15 rounds and they're like 9 mils if that's what they're carrying. And then off duty, I think they can only carry 10 rounds. But I thought you could still carry off duty as long as you're a peace officer in New York. I like seeing 223 answering questions for me. Let's see the cover everything. I cancel it because I don't know. It's hard. When pursuits are dangerous, regardless, there's a reason that they're so strict about when you can have them and when you can't. Pursuing through a residential area is not a big deal. Going against traffic and stuff, it's on the officer to let his supervisor know what's going on. I mean, it is what it is. He got his written out of it, so it's water under the bridge. And nobody got hurt. So if somebody had gotten hurt, then heads would have rolled, and it would have been on the officer. It wouldn't have been on the supervisor because the supervisor's not there, can't see what's going on. Let's see. Jeff, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy the live streams. Let's see. Oh, 223, I guess you're taking off. I missed that part. Alrighty. In New York, I think cops are not allowed to chase. Chasing motorcycles is a little bit different. I don't know that like we have a specific. Brent 223 is actually 556. I just call him that. Screw with him. I don't think we have a specific policy about chasing motorcycles, but there are policies about using stopping tactics against motorcycles. Stopping tactics are pit maneuvers and spike strips, stuff like that. Motorcycles and quads, all that kind of stuff. You can't use stopping tactics against them. So, I can understand why some places might not let you chase them. As far as I know, our policy would still allow us to chase a motorcycle if it was under the right circumstances. We just can't pit it or anything, which is very tempting, especially those dirt bike or those quads. They're out running around, but you can literally kill somebody, and that's not the goal. The goal is to arrest them, not to kill them. I don't know. It is 8:56. I think it's time for last call. Last call for questions. You know what I should do? We're gonna do this. Instead of last call, we're gonna watch this again. This last little part. That's how we're gonna call it a night. Oh, this one. I have no plans on getting promoted ever.
I don't think that's gonna work.
It might. You never know. We'll try it. Take a deep breath and blow hard. Harder. You're not blowing. Yeah, no.
Blowing.
You're not blowing a feather up your hand. Blow a balloon up. A nice big breath.
I'm doing my best for you.
Thank you. Harder. Nope. Nope. Keep that tongue going. Keep going. Harder. Nope.
I ran out of breath.
Keep up. No. Nope. Okay, hey, Jenna. Here.
You see me,
I know.
and I'm blowing.
Yeah, but you're not blowing hard enough. Take a deep breath and like this. Just like that. Let's try that one. Ready and go. Harder. Nope. Harder. Keep going. Harder. Harder. Nope. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't. You keep checking harder.
I'm not changing anything.
Hard. Just like that. Nope. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. Almost. Nope. Keep going. Nope. Okay.
I am trying my hardest for you.
Thank you. Hey, what you got? See?
That's my favorite part. She's like, I am trying my hardest for you. Oh, it's so hard to keep it clean. We're all adults here. It is what it is. I don't know. On that note, look forward to the highlight reel. I'll make a highlight reel. I'll put it out. I might put some music in there or something. I'll find a way to make that happen. Anyway, everybody, thanks for coming to the stream tonight. This one was a little bit more loose. I had no idea what I was getting into when I put this video up. I just saw it and I thought this might be fun. So I think we accomplished that. The next one might be slightly more serious. I think the next one is going to be about drug addicts and homelessness. I'll have some videos queued up. We'll talk about it, give you my real thoughts, because I don't think most people are aware of what really happens in that world. So that will be interesting. Oh, and I wanted to let you know, there's still a good handful of you here. Next Wednesday, the 27th, I think is the date. I will not be live streaming. I'm going to be on the Poorly Made Police Memes podcast again. So we're going to be recording that day, and I won't be able to live stream. I just decided to cancel a stream that week so I can hang out with him, and that'll be fun. Sarge, a Q&A stream, I kind of do it at the end of every stream, so I don't want to do a whole one because I feel like I'd be sitting here just waiting for people to ask questions. But feel free to ask questions anytime during the live streams, and I'll try to do my best to answer them. If I miss it, just ask it again. So check my video. Oh, that one too. Julie sent me a video suggestion. we'll get to that soon too. I might even do like a video breakdown of it if that would be good enough for you. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, my computer screens are starting to go dark, which means they're in night mode, which I set it so I would be able to go to sleep at night if I'm on the computer late, which means it's time for me to turn it off. Thank you all for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you everybody that provided a super chat. That helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate you guys spending your hard-earned money on me. With that big face, big ugly face, thank you very much, guys. I'm out of here.